It's clearly a lot of natural forces. I think that climate change is going to be a real shaper of globalization. We have, and I teach this here, I teach a course on managing global catastrophes. And when you look at things like the Asian tsunami, or all the tragedies that have happened in the last decade that have overflowed borders, this is causing a much greater recognition of the need to manage globalization than we've ever had before. So I think there are a lot of natural forces, but if I were to look ahead 25, 50 years, I would say that we will have many more global institutions where the sovereign decisions are not left with nation states, but are at least shared with these international institutions. I think we will do something in the global financial arena. We're already beginning to see certain regulations for financial institutions that really cut across all nationalities, and some acceptance of that in terms of, for example, levels of reserves. I think that in the trade area, we're going to see a lot more sharing of, a lot more institutions making sovereign-type decisions when it comes to regulation of say, cyberspace. I think that in virtually every area that you look at, refugees is another one, humanitarian issues, it's really clear that the nation state alone cannot handle this, and that the notion of sort of coordination is nowhere near up to the challenge. These people really did make a difference. But in the end, they didn't bend history. They accelerated it. And for one reason or another, these particular people got there first. They might have been smarter, they might have been quicker, they might have been luckier. They did make a difference. But I think that it's very likely that the historical circumstances which gave them the opportunity would have sooner or later given others the opportunity too. I picked these 10 people as representative. I'm sure that someone else could substitute others for the 10 that I picked. The one thing that I feel pretty good about is that these 10 definitely make the cut. That is, each of them did something really amazing. Each of them transformed their world in such a way that we're still living with the impact. There have been a lot of things written about globalization, a lot on the policy, a lot on sort of the underlying trends, some good stuff written about individual companies and individual industries. And I wanted to take a fresh look, and I thought by doing it through the lens of individuals who made a really huge difference, that this would be a very interesting way to look at globalization. And especially because I've been at the School of Management for so long, I thought that looking at it in terms of how much difference can an individual make on something that's really big, I thought that would be really interesting. I was particularly attentive to people who I thought were first movers and who really did something that was very cutting edge and very lasting. And as I was reading and reading, some of the same names cropped up. And so I made a tentative list, and I kept reading and kept refining the list. I wanted also to pick people who were representative of different areas of globalization, so that part of my job was to illustrate globalization in all of its aspects. I think globalization, over the 800 years that I was writing about, changed in several ways. One is that more and more of our world was encompassed. That is, globalization reached to the far corners of the earth, and a great example really was the first two characters. Genghis Khan united East and West, but my second character, Prince Henry the Navigator, basically sent ships that discovered places we never knew existed. And actually, my third character, Robert Clive, who I identify as the father of colonialism or colonization, that brought the sort of governance, especially of the British Empire, to the far corners of the earth. So it got geographically much broader. It also became much deeper with the evolution of global finance and global communication. It became much more networked. So yes, I think that but the direction was the same, and that is connections. Connections among people, connections among societies, connections between and among governments. All of that just progressed almost exponentially. I think there was a common thread in the times that they lived in that in one way or another, some kind of revolution was going on. It might have been a revolution in terms of technology, such as with the transatlantic cable. It might have been a political revolution. I write about Mayer Rothschild, who was sort of the father of the House of Rothschild, the most powerful financial institution that ever really existed. And that was right in the middle of the Napoleonic Wars. Everything was being disrupted. Jean Monnet, I mean, that was a revolution in the sense that Europe was totally decimated, and nobody knew how it was going to recover. And so it was a revolution in thought and action. Thatcher, Margaret Thatcher, you know, the revolution that she wrought was really a revolution to push back the tides of socialism and really unleash a kind of free market philosophy. But it was ripe for that kind of revolution. Deng Xiaoping, who succeeded Mao Zedong, China had just gone through the Cultural Revolution, and it was a total mess. And Deng Xiaoping created a different kind of revolution. So the common element really is that there was a certain level of chaos, that the rules were changing, that the underlying plates of the civilization were shifting. And in that environment, people with real leadership qualities really, they took advantage of what other people couldn't.